Hey guys, I'm here today with a swatch video for the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. Whoops. I'm gonna say, first off, the packaging on this is so cool. It's definitely, it looks like it's plastic. I thought it was gonna be plastic, but it's cardboard. But it is really well made. It's very, this is such a pretty like icy chrome blue, the whole hardware on the front. So that is metal, at least it feels like metal, could be plastic. It's got a tiny little Jeffree Star insignia right there. I don't know if that's gonna pick up or not. But yeah, it's fairly heavy duty feeling. It is kind of big at length and width wise. It's the same size as the Blood Sugar palette, but because of this raised part, it's slightly thicker. It's like, I don't know, I'd say maybe an inch thicker than the other one is. But nonetheless, the packaging is beautiful. I really, really like it. So when you open it up, it is a little tricky to open, but it's got a big old mirror on the inside. You're gonna be able to see my chin. And these are the colors. So it's super, super pretty. I'll try and prop it up here so that the mirror is not in the way. There are 18 shadows in here, of course. They are not all blue, but a fair amount of them are. So I'm just going to do some swatches for you and talk about the colors. The quality of these are very on par with Blood Sugar. You guys know the Blood Sugar palette is my favorite one from Jeffree. And the shadows in here are the same quality as those shadows. The mattes are super creamy and blendable. The shimmery ones and everything is nice and pigmented. So I'm gonna go through and talk about the colors, what I like and what I don't like about the palette. I will say this is definitely not an everyday palette. I know there are some fairly neutral shades. We've got Wealthy and Celebrity Skin, and then Untouchable is a nice pale pink, and Priceless is a cream. But this is definitely one I have to sit and think about what I'm gonna do for a look before I actually start playing around with it on my eyes, because the blue can be pretty intimidating when it comes to eyeshadow. But I do love blue eyeshadow, so I still got this palette anyway. So the first color is called Cullinan. That one has a little diamond imprinted on it. This is so creamy. It is a shimmery white, like a silvery white. That's what that one looks like. Makes a really pretty inner corner highlight. I'm gonna try and adjust my light here so that there's not a ton of shadow. And then I will swatch it with a brush right next to that. Picks up really well on a brush. Most of these shadows do. I don't have a base down or anything, any sort of primer. That's just the shadow on its own. And I remembered to grab my little color switch thing today, so I shouldn't have a problem with accidentally sticking a wet brush into the matte eyeshadows. So the next one is Minty. This one is a pale mint green. It is also a matte, super creamy. That's what that one looks like on the finger. And then with a brush, it's super soft, so you gotta be careful to not like dig your brush in there, but applies really well. Like I said, there's no primer or anything on my hand, so for it to show up that nicely, it's hard to get pastel shades to like work properly, so very impressed with the pastel-y shades in this palette. Then we have Crystal Flesh. This is the one I've been using the most. You can probably tell I've kind of worn away the little star. But this one is like a pinky champagne metallic shade. I'm gonna run out of room on my hand here, but there's the finger swatch. It's really pretty all over the lid, especially if you don't want to do an all blue look. And then I'm gonna put the brush swatch right here. It does have a little bit of fallout because it's got a more chunky glitter to it. I mean, it's not super chunky, but It does have a little bit of fallout, so those three colors actually look really pretty together. So those are the first three. I'm Cold, which is a pale matte baby blue. Again, super creamy. I haven't used this one on my eye yet, but this is a finger swatch of it. It's very similar in texture and everything to the Minty, but I think the Minty one is a lot softer because it kicks up a ton in the pan and this one does not. So this is the brush swatch. Yeah, this one doesn't show up as good as the Minty one either. So that's I'm Cold, which reminds me of that Are You Afraid of the Dark episode with the kid that just kept saying, well, I shouldn't say kid, it was a ghost child that kept saying, I'm cold. If anybody remembers that, Are You Afraid of the Dark fans? I need to like find that show and binge watch it because I miss it. Untouchable goes very well with the pale baby blue. This is a pale baby pink, and it is also a matte shade. I'm gonna put that right next to the blue. And then we'll do a brush swatch next to that. So those two are very pale, soft, pretty colors. Perfect for Easter, actually. That's a nice Easter combo right there. And then we have Priceless. That has a little cute kissy lip stamp on it. This one is amazingly soft. It is just a matte cream. It's kind of like almost the same color as my hand, so I hope you can see it. And again, super soft. That one applies really well with the brush. I'm hoping you can see because it's kind of close to my skin. So there's the entire top row. That's what those look like. Now we'll move on to the middle row. First we have Power, which is like a grayish blue, blue-gray. That's kind of a crappy swatch, but there's the second layer. And then with a brush, I've been using this one, when I use this palette, I like to use this one in the outer corner because it kind of darkens it up without using a black or anything. So that is Power. Then we have Blue Blood, which is kind of similar to I'm Cold, but this is more blue. That's a baby blue. This is a more brighter blue. Very pretty. That one has a little crown stamped in it. And then with a brush, then we have Deceased. This is one of my favorite colors in here. It's so pretty. It's this metallic true blue shade. Actually, it's not true blue. It's more of like an aqua blue almost. I don't know. It just reminds me of the ocean. It's so pretty. It does not pick up great on a brush though, and I think it's because it's metallic. Like the metallic-y doesn't it doesn't want to, maybe it's just this brush. I'm not using a flat brush. I think it would pick up a lot better with a flat brush, but when I'm trying to use this brush, I'm kind of just getting the shimmer out of it and not the full impact of the color. So you might want to use that one with your finger. It is one of those shadows that's like pressed in the pan more, I think because of the texture of it. That's why it's not picking up on the brush, but it is a really pretty color, as you can clearly see. It's very pretty. Then we have another one of my favorites in here. This is Ice Tray, and this is just an icy blue, super pigmented, metallic, icy, it's kind of like an icy cornflower shade. And that one picks up very easily on the fluffy brush. So that is Ice Tray. Then we have Blue Monday, which has this little storm cloud stamped on it. Now this one is a little bit drier than the rest of the mattes. Little bit patchy. It's not as like oomph on the skin as it is in the pan, but it's still kind of pretty. I haven't been bold enough to use this on my eyes yet either. I've tried to do a look this week because I got it at the beginning of the week, and at the time I'm filming this, it's a Friday, so every morning I've tried to use as many shades from it as I could so that I could kind of talk about the shades more as I was doing this. This one is definitely drier and doesn't apply as great as the other mattes, which is kind of a bummer, but then again, I don't know how much I'm going to use a super bold blue like this anyway. So, as you can see, pretty patchy. So that's the only like disappointing shade in here that I've found. Flourishing is this gorgeous teal. This is a matte as well. Doesn't have that patchy issue like the other blue before it does. And then we'll do a brush swatch with this one. This one again is super soft and kicks up a lot of product, so just be careful so you don't make a mess of the whole palette. I'm trying to pick up as much of the little crumblies as I can here. And that is the middle row. To start the last row, we have a couple neutral shades. So we have Wealthy, which is a money bag stamp. It's a very light cream shade. Again, it's a matte. I like that there's plenty of mattes in this palette. Picks up really nicely. This one actually is even closer to my skin tone than that Priceless one is, so you're probably not going to see that at all. Really nice shade to kind of soften and blend out the harsh blues though, so I'm glad that that was included in here. Then we have Celebrity Skin. This one is a matte tannish shade. Actually a beige. I'd definitely describe that as more beige. Super soft and pigmented like most of the mattes. That is what that one looks like. A little powdery right there. And then we have Entitled, which is this really pretty glittery teal. It looks like it's going to be kind of rough feeling because of the glitter in there, but it's super soft. So this is a glittery teal, very close to that Flourishing color, but this one of course is glittery and that one is matte. This one has some fallout when you use a brush, as you can see the little specks there, but it applies decently. So there's the first three, and then three here. Ocean Ice is super duper glittery. This is like a navy blue with tons of chunky glitter. This one's pretty gritty feeling. I mean, it's not like uncomfortable, but it's definitely different from this one right next to it, which is also a glitter. And the star imprint on here came off almost instantly the first time that I swatched it, but it's so pretty. It's so super duper pigmented. It's almost like when you swatch it, the chunkiness kind of goes away and it just blends into a more metallic eyeshadow. So kind of a weird texture, something different anyway. And then let's try it with a brush. It does seem to pick up decently on a brush. Yeah, this is definitely one to apply with your fingers. Because when I used this, I actually used this on the outer corner of my eye one day. And I used it with my finger to kind of blend it. That's what it looks like with a brush. When you use a brush, you get like all the glitter kind of flecks and falls out everywhere, but with the finger it was not, there was hardly any fallout. Alright. And then we have Cremated. This is a dark, kind of like charcoal and blue mixed together. This is also a matte shade. Kind of comes off a little bit green. More on the green side than the blue anyway. That one's a little bit powdery, but not too bad. And then the last one is Undertaker. It has a little coffin stamped on it. And this is a really, really dark matte navy. And that one feels a little bit dry, but it's not as patchy as the Blue Monday one is. When you feel them both, the Blue Monday is a little bit drier, but this one definitely has a drier texture to it too. Just not quite as dry as that Blue Monday shade. And then again, doesn't want to apply great with a brush, but I have no primer or anything on me. So those are all the shades swatched. Now I can properly wipe my brush off with a wet wipe here until I actually clean it. So yeah, this palette is definitely not for everybody. I I applaud Jeffree for kind of doing what he wants to do. Knowing that a blue palette is not going to be for everybody. Whoa! When I wiped it off, that Ocean Ice shade stained pink. That's crazy. I've never seen that happen before, and I make eyeshadows all the time. That's kind of weird. That's the only shadow that stained, too. See? I just rubbed really hard and it didn't want to come off. So use that Ocean Ice one with caution because it stains a little bit. What was I saying? Yeah, the almost all blue palette is definitely not for everybody, so I understand that. I'm excited to see what he comes out with next for palettes, because his last few have been really good. I loved the Alien palette, but my favorite was the Blood Sugar. And I feel like I have that blue glitter everywhere. So let me know if any of you picked this palette up, what you think of it. I do really enjoy it so far. It's not gonna get like everyday use from me personally because I'm not one to wear super bright blues every day, but I do love blue eyeshadow, so I'm excited to have kind of different blues, because not a lot of I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, and I can tell you off the top of my head like maybe 3 or 4 of them have a nice bright blue or 2 in there. But this is a nice variety, so when I'm feeling in the blue mood, I know exactly what palette to go to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this swatch video, and I will talk to you in my next video.